From the top rope to your collection, this is collecting the 1, 2, 3 presented by Cardboard Dugout. I am your host, Moon 3PO, and this is my tag team partner, Bro PO, with a Monday night recording. Bro PO, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Coming off a big wrestling weekend. So much wrestling was consumed over the weekend. Obviously, we watched a lot of it together. Same thing tonight. Enjoyed some great wrestling tonight. So yeah, other than that, it's been a good day. Can't complain here.
Very loaded wrestling weekend, and it's carry on. We are now officially on the road to SummerSlam, which I keep forgetting is 2 nights. The way they've been promoting the show and what's been promoted right now, it doesn't feel like 2 weeks or 2 nights. Granted, you still have 3 weeks to get this going. And I'm pretty sure that's the way tonight went. I'm pretty sure we're going to get there pretty quickly. And the build, I think, hopefully will be better because we're used to week and a half, 2 week builds, but now we got an extra week so we can work with. And I feel like we're going to get there pretty quickly. And I feel like we're off to I would say a very good start. I'm feeling very good about SummerSlam. But yes, before we get into SummerSlam, a heavy wrestling weekend. It started with Friday. Technically, Friday we had some indie stuff. I know I consumed a little bit of some GCW, which that was a first for me. Game Changer Wrestling. That was a first for me that I've always seen clips here and there, but was the first that I actually sat down and watched it after I got off a Whatnot stream, watched SmackDown, then head into GCW. Obviously, Saturday was a big day for wrestling fans. We had AEW All In, which we're going to talk about. We had the very eventful, and I say that in quotation marks if you're listening here to the audio, for Saturday night's main event. We then had Sunday, we then had Evolution. Saturday, I failed to acknowledge the Great American Bash from NXT, which don't see that being chatted about too much online, but if you go back and watch that, there was a lot of great matches on that card as well. So 3 events on Saturday. Then we had Evolution 2 on Sunday, which we're gonna kind of jumble it all in together as the big takeaways here and there. Obviously, we're gonna focus a little bit on AEW All In a little bit, which is a new thing for us. We typically don't talk about All In. If you go listen to the lore of collecting the 1, 2, 3, even I think there's a episode on the Cardboard Dugout specifically feed episode where we kind of talked about AEW for a little bit. We kind of threw some jabs here and there, but light jabs, healthy jabs, little fun jabs for the AEW fans that are out there, and we know some of them, but they are out there. But let's jump into Saturday because Friday wasn't too much. I'll actually throw it to you for Friday because Friday was a big day for you, or I'd say for us in general. We had the Wyatt Six becoming tag team champions for the first time, and kind of like heelish tactics in a way. They kind of Eric Rowan kind of got involved, so kind of using the family to get involved there, but obviously we're known to be big Wyatt Six fans, so I want to make sure that I don't throw that under the rug a little bit. Unfortunately, didn't get any cool Tops Now cards from that I'm aware. But yeah, how are we feeling about the Wyatt Six taking home gold for the first time?
Yeah, I actually didn't get to see it live. I was out and about, so by the time I got back home, I got to turn on SmackDown. I caught maybe the last hour, last 45 of it. They already had went in. I think that's when I even went into your Whatnot stream. I hated the Wyatt twin. So I had to go back and watch it. But yeah, man, I'm all for it. Like I said, we're big Wyatt Six fans, so to see them finally get the tag team belts, yeah, I'm for it. I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with this one. So hopefully we get to see them when they come into our town this upcoming Friday. So
I would hope
I'll be looking forward
they
to that.
will. Obviously, yeah. Hopefully they are there. Yeah, it's always interesting with these like kind of like sci-fi-ish is type characters. I know always the thing with Bray Wyatt was that he never needed the belt, or that's like always like a special character where you don't need the belt and you kind of work with what you have. So yeah, curious to see where it goes. I know that obviously there's been some people on the interwebs, IWC as they like to call them, that particularly like, oh, they've been buried, they're not this and that, they've been blundered a little bit. But it feels like obviously we know that Triple H is a big Wyatt Six guy. He brought back Bray Wyatt. He's brought them all back. So I think he knows how to protect them and knows how to operate them moving forward. So I think, yeah, I'm all for it. I want to make sure that we didn't ignore that completely. But yeah, no, I'm excited for it. Hopefully, I said it in my Whatnot stream. I'm kind of hoping they do like a Freebird rule where obviously Loomis and Husky were the
Oh
ones
yeah.
that won, and Jojo Gacy. I know they're the ones that won, but maybe throw it to Eric Rowan and Uncle Howdy a little bit. I know they did that cool shot where Eric Rowan had both of the belts and they were under him. That was a great shot. So maybe we get like a
Yeah.
little bit of mix. I'm hoping they do like a Freebird rule. Doesn't look like it right now. I know they didn't do that with the other rendition when it was Brody Lee, Luke Harper, whoever you know him by, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. I know it was just Randy Orton and Brody, or Luke Harper, again, however you may know him. So yeah, I'm excited for it. Curious to see where it goes. Hopefully, we get some cool involvement there. I know the DIY. It looks like
Yeah,
Ray
that's
Phoenix and
probably what I was gonna
Andrade
say. I
are
was like,
now a tag
I was gonna
team.
say, hopefully I can see them possibly like mixing up with DIY. Hopefully first, because DIY kind of seem to be the ones like kind of leading this whole anti Wyatt Six charge. We even saw it, I think, like the week prior, where they saw a little history between Gargano and Dexter Lumis, which, if you don't know, they were in a stable down at NXT called The Way with Indy and Candice and Austin Theory. So there's already little that that
History.
background there, and then you can also
Yeah.
get like Nikki Cross into the mix with Candice LeRae and stuff like that. So I mean, that seems like an easy pivot to go towards that, and I don't know, maybe they can where we can go from there, but that just be my thoughts. But other than that, yeah, hopefully they get a good title run here. I think they're well deserving of it.
Yeah, hopefully Nikki Cross. That's the one thing I think. That's my one complaint right now with the Wyatt Six is she obviously has not been involved in any type of like physical matches. She's just been like a managerial on the side, kind of like crawling all over the floor type thing. So hopefully getting her involved in the actual matches, I think that would do wonders for the Wyatt Six. But again, wanted to make sure we didn't ignore that. So shout out to the Wyatt Six for taking home SmackDown Tag Team Gold for the first time. But let's head into Saturday, because Saturday was eventful. Like we mentioned, we had AEW All In, we had the Great American Bash, and then we had Saturday night's main event. We're not going to cover every match here on the card. We're just going to talk about some key takeaways that we saw, or some moments there that we want to talk about. So I don't know where you want to start off first. I say let's start off with All In, just because we can go back to back with WWE and how they ran their events and the matches that were on that event. But I think this has been the first time since we've actually watched an AEW pay-per-view in a while. I know usually we watch them separate,
Yeah.
just because they happen like on Sundays, and typically Sundays are a little bit harder to get together. So we usually watch them, separate on our iPads, phones, whatever. And so yeah, this I think is the first time, maybe since Sting's retirement, if I'm not mistaken, that we've watched together that I could think
Yeah,
of.
you know what? That you're right. You're right. I was trying to think what was the last one I saw, but yeah, that was that one. And then I recall watching Dynasty, if I'm not mistaken, if that's what it's called, is when Brian Danielson was killed off of TV, literally. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I went like, no pun intended. I went all in on watching this AEW pay per view. I had the pre show on YouTube. So legit, like I was locked in from like 1 o'clock in the afternoon all the way until when Saturday night's main event finished, was like around like after a little bit after 9 o'clock. So like 8 hours worth of wrestling. Um, but man, where's I going with this? Yeah, so I mean, like I don't really dabble. As we've discussed before, we don't really dabble too much in AEW. I do try to catch it when I can. Live on Wednesdays. If for some reason I can't, I try to watch the replay like the next day on Thursday. Same thing is kind of what I do with NXT. If I can't catch it on Tuesdays, I'll catch the replay on Wednesdays in the morning or something like that. Um, I enjoyed it. There's just some the reasons I don't like AEW is the same things that I've obviously discussed, and I will probably talk about it a little bit more. But I mean, honestly, like I did enjoy it. It was a good card. It was entertaining. Well, the first half was entertaining, really. To me, it kind of really didn't start taking off until maybe like a little bit after like the men's gauntlet match. Those kind of first few matches kind of went a little bit too long, if I'm mistaken. I think obviously, well, I don't know. I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I don't know how you felt overall for All In.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I know from it's like overall general consensus, I feel like that's like the same idea or like the same concept. Like it wasn't the best All In or like the best AEW pay-per-view as like they were promoting. I know like Will Ospreay was saying like tonight changes wrestling and things like that. So I wouldn't say that necessarily. Like if I would, you guys know I love my star ratings. I will give it like a 4, 3.5 maybe. I would have to see if I can just sitting down and watching 7+ hours of wrestling again. But I think I also
That's
get. I
and
think we're.
that's
I think we're so spoiled with the day one and day twos now. We're like, I sat down. I was like, dude, like this is fucking long. Like it's long for me.
that's my
Like I.
biggest gripe. Like if my list of complaints about it, it's way too long. Like if you include the pre-show, which in my case it did, um, like you're starting at 1 o'clock, and I think this was one of the also the reasons why for personally for me when I discussed trying to go out there, I was like, dude, I don't think I can sit down and watch wrestling like in public in a chair and watch like 6 to 7 hours worth of wrestling. I was like, that's a lot. I think most of the matches were well. I know the last three, which the main events, the last two I think were like pushing over 30, and I think Mercedes and Tony's went plus 20. So I mean, there's an hour and 20 right there on just three matches. Um, which honestly, some of the finishes could have ended a lot sooner, cut off time, but that'll probably get there in a little bit. But yeah, initially, my first gripe is I think it's a little too long. I think I've discussed this too about like WWE pay per views. Some of them feel like too short match wise. Which when we talk about evolution, we can talk a little bit more about how many matches could technically be on a card. But yeah, I think for me the one of the biggest gripes is that it was just too damn long. Like I don't I can't imagine. I'm sure it's different experiencing it in person, but me personally, I don't think I can, have freaking lunch and dinner at the freaking Rangers Stadium. Like that's insane.
Jesus. Yeah. So if there was one complaint that I would have, it's just too damn long. It's long. It's too long for me. I can only feel about other. I don't know how other people feel about it. Maybe I think the diehard AEW fans would be like, "Oh, this is like from start to bell the best professional wrestling, if you want to call it." But yeah, for me, that would be my biggest gripe, that it's just too long. And you can kind of feel it with some of the crowd too. Like some of the crowd was dead for some of the matches. The matches where they picked up on, which you can say was probably the last three, which I would say is the Tony Storm, Mercedes Moné, Kenny Okada versus Kenny Omega, and then obviously the Texas Death Match, which I think were probably the big three takeaways from this card. No disrespect to the TNT title. Obviously, we had the unfortunate news where Adam Cole, which it seems like he may be done. I know I kind of want to bring that up too, because I know we were prepared to have a Kyle Fletcher versus Adam Cole, which I think would have been a good matchup, but we got a fatal 4-way instead with Kyle Fletcher, Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, and Daniel Garcia, which Dustin Rhodes came out victorious. I think this is his first singles title in AEW, and he's been there from the jump. So shout out to Dustin Rhodes. Finishing his
I think I saw it's his first singles title since like 1999 when he held the Intercontinental title back in WWF. I think
that makes sense. I don't remember holding it. I don't remember him holding anything in WWE as a single.
I think that's why they made such a big deal about it, like the whole like after the match and stuff like that. I think that's why it was kind of done like that. Because in my head, I'm like, dude, why are they glazing this ugly ass belt? Like I've said it numerous times, the TNT and the TBS titles are like some of the worst names for belts in the world. So that whole thing, I was like, dude, what are they glazing about this belt for? Yeah, I think that's why. Like he hadn't held a singles title in many years. So shout out to Dustin Rhodes.
Shout him out. But yeah, finishing his story there, I guess, with AEW. So I believe now he's an ROH champion and a TNT champion, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he holds the ROH with Sammy Guevara, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Dude, so he has the ROH tag team titles with Sammy Guevara, and then he has the ROH 6-man tag team titles with the Von Erichs with
oh, that's right, with the Von Erichs.
Yeah, and then now he has the TNT. So he's got a little belt collector run right now.
A little Mercedes Moné, I should say, huh? I did. Oh yeah, I did. That's right. I did. I remember on the pre-show like Kevin Von Erich went in there, did the Iron Claw, so that was pretty cool as well too.
Oh yeah, I was yelling in the house. I was like, the claw.
So yeah, I remember seeing that. Like, oh, that's a cool little moment. But yeah, I want to highlight here, unfortunately, with Adam Cole there. Man, if that's the end for Adam Cole, man, somebody placed a curse or a hex on Adam Cole. Does that dude, once he went to AEW, like has not found his footing whatsoever. Once he's tried to find it, it's been there for a couple of months, couple of weeks, and then the injury bug happened. So yeah, just wanted to make sure, shout out Adam Cole. Obviously that NXT run will forever be goated, forever be legendary, black and gold with the Undisputed Era. it seems like, obviously it hasn't been like officially announced, but it seems like this is where potentially I think it's been confirmed or been rumored that it's concussion related, which you can kind of probably go
Yeah.
back to that bump with Kyle Fletcher, which that was like a nasty ass bump they took on the ring. So I don't know whose idea was it to take that bump, especially if he's been dealing with those issues. I think from what we've heard and what we've read is that he's been dealing with them for a little bit, and I think maybe that kind of kind of put the the nail in the coffin there. So yeah, I don't know
I think
whose
I
bright
probably
idea it was.
also I saw online too that there was a move that he took from Kyle Fletcher on Thursday on the collision before All In, and apparently that was the one that kind of set it off. I didn't go back and watch it, so I really don't know. But I saw some rumblings on the internet because people were saying that it was the power bomb on the side of the ring, which I was wondering. I was like, I can't ever remember if he wrestled after that, but somebody apparently said that he did on the collision before All In, and they said that there was a move in there that maybe might have triggered it, or that might have triggered this second injury or continuing the injuries of the concussions. But yeah, man, if this is it for him, that does suck. I mean, you can see how emotional he was in the ring, even with Kyle O'Reilly and Roddy in the background. Like you can tell, like they were all emotional about it too. So I hope that's not the end of his wrestling career. He's still fairly young. I think he's like in his late 30s. So like, I know he can probably still go. You know, a lot of the wrestlers push into their 40s and stuff like that. So hopefully this is not the end for good old Adam Cole, baby.
Yeah, hopefully he comes back. Hopefully he makes a healthy return. Obviously, health is the first and most important thing. So hopefully he's able to come back healthy and kind of go off on his own terms. But when one goes, one comes back with during the tag team match here with the Hurt Syndicate, Edge and Chris and Nick Wayne, and who was the other Speedball Mike Bailey, and who's the other guy? I forgot the name of the other guy. Damn, what the hell is the name of the other guy?
Fuck.
Point
I
exactly.
don't know.
So point proven. During that match, there obviously the Hurt Syndicate returning, and obviously here we get the intro with we kept laughing on that intro because the Hurt Syndicate had a special little entrance there with a live musical performance. And the amount of time they say we heard people, we heard people. we made a funny joke like, what do you think they do to people?
We hurt people.
I'm like, oh my god. And it felt like it was on an echo and on a loop. I'm like, dude, they need to wrap this shit up quick. Like, come on, guys, make your way out down that long ass ramp. But after that match there, after the Hurt Syndicate, nothing to really write home about that match. But after the Hurt Syndicate retained, we get obviously the turning of Nick Wayne on Christian Cage. And then we get the return of Cope, Adam Copeland, Edge, whatever you want to call him by. Of course, everybody on the internet, even ourselves, that we had to talk about a little bit before making his way down the ring to go save your best friend from getting his neck broken. Mixer has to get his little blazing in. Got to celebrate. Got to get your aura in. Go taunts the crowd. Even gets the pyro, which is even crazy. I get the Jeff Hardy. I get the Penta stuff, but the fact that you got pyro, you stopped in the middle of the ramp to get pyro. That's just crazy.
That was wild. I'm not a fan of when they do that. I know the Jeff Hardy one was funny because I mean, if you go back and look at the Jeff Hardy one, it's a short ramp, so that one was pretty funny. The Penta one too also didn't make sense with that long ass ramp, and he's over there doing his little taunts and dancing at the ring. And then this one was just insane. It's like to just taunt the crowd and then get freaking pyro while Christian's neck's probably already snapped in half. Like, yeah,
I don't get it too from the third party
that.
perspective. Like, if you're Nick Wayne and FTR and all the guys, why don't you just hit him with a chair while the pyro's going off and just go dip? Like, why are you waiting? Like, I don't like. I would just hit him with the chair and then go and leave it and run away in like the way exactly that you did. But obviously, Edge or Cope, whatever the hell you want to call him these days, making the comeback.
Edge.
Nice seeing Cope. Nice seeing Cope back in the ring after he took that. What did he break? I think it's shin, right? Something like I know he jumped off the steel cage. I don't think like Bronson Reed.
So he jumped off the cage.
I think his shin there. But nice seeing Cope saving Christian. I know we were kind of talking about on the site too. We were kind of asking like where he's at and what I heard and what I read, and kind of actually came into fruition there. Saving Christian, but not really getting a full reunion as he picks him up and tells Christian to go find himself instead of telling him to go fuck himself, which Christian told him, I think on that date, it was like a year ago to that date, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Or it was a little bit over a year. It's been around a year since that. since that very famous quote there. But nice to see Cope back. Obviously, I think we're probably at the tail end of Cope. I know he's kind of talked about it too, where he doesn't have much of the years ahead of him anymore. So I think obviously they're trying to build up to this final run with Christian. I would think a good final match for him would be Edge or Christian for the FTR. I don't know. I don't think there's really a singles competitor that would end his career, or there's really one specifically that would that's like a perfect stamp of like putting your end to your career there. So I think an Edge or Christian versus FTR would be a fine one there, and it feels like that's going to be the build up. Or obviously they have Nick Wayne and whoever the other guy was, that guy was like Lexus King, but having FTR and Edge and Christian, I think that would be like a perfect build for them as they head on. Don't know if you have any thoughts on Cope returning, or Edge as you like to call him, but yeah, nice seeing Edge. He looked healthy, looked good.
Yeah, I mean, I love Edge. He was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up as a kid too. So, um, yeah, I mean, I think like the way you said it, like if he is gonna come down to like his last final run, like to see him team up with maybe Christian one last time, maybe even get like the AEW tag team titles, do a last little tag team title run. That'd be good to see. I think if I'm not mistaken, there is a AEW event. I think I might have saw a graphic that's gonna be happening in somewhere in Canada. So, I mean, if they can do that in their home country, I mean, that'd be even better. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah, I think I might have saw something like that. Oh yes, you are right. I forgot what event it is. Uh, but yeah, that would be pretty cool there. Don't know when that event is coming up, but yeah, if they can do something cool like that, hey, why not? But yeah, always nice seeing Cope, seeing Edge back in the mix. But let's now head into I think arguably the three biggest matches here were on that card. Let's start off here with Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm, which kind of started off a little slow, in my opinion, and then kind of once again to the last 5, 10, 15 minutes or so really started picking up here. I know we didn't do a prediction pod. Life got the best of us. We were both busy there with other things that we're taking care of. But I was actually surprised that Toni Storm went over. I had thought Mercedes Moné would go over. Obviously, she's on her belt run right now. So I was a little bit surprised to see Toni Storm come out victorious. I know we don't watch too much AEW. It's been some time since I've actually like sat down and actually watched a Sasha Banks Mercedes Moné match. I know I see clips here and there, but it's very rare for me to actually like sit down and watch some of her matches. But yeah, again, thought it was a fine match. Nothing show stealing like potentially like we saw on Evolution. We'll talk about Evolution here when we get there. But overall, I thought it was a fine match. Nice seeing Toni Storm again coming out victorious. Don't know if you have any thoughts there on the match itself. I did think though that Mercedes Moné coming out with the robe. I don't know if you saw it. She had all the people that she's beating. I thought that went kind of hard. I thought that was kind of cool.
Oh yeah. I did see about that. Yeah, I think I'm on the same boat as you. It did kind of start off a little slow. Like I know they were doing the whole grappling, and then they went into like taunting each other and stuff like that. So it did start off a little slow. And then it did pick up a little bit. Then we get to obviously the finish, which that finish looked crazy. A damn power driver off the damn turnbuckle seemed insane. But yeah, I think it was the right decision. I think they had to like if Sasha or if Mercedes would have won this belt, she's practically ran through like that whole AEW like women's division. Like, and there's like literally would be nobody else for her to beat. But I think because she already fought Athena too, right? If I'm not mistaken.
So, yeah.
Did she fight her
I
already?
believe so. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think she's fought her already.
She has. Okay, so
I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, if she beats Tony, and then like there's literally like nobody to like for Mercedes to kind of fight against. So yeah, it was the right move. I'm sure they're gonna have their second match. And we can talk about then who was that belt kind of needs to go. But I mean, I know we kind of missed over a little bit too. But the battle royal, but like Athena now has like the title shot that she can claim. I'm assuming it works like a Money in the Bank where she can just use it whenever. But yeah, so I think it was the right move for Tony to win.
Yeah, I agree. Thought it was the right move. Did I think it was going to happen? No. Obviously, there's always the rumblings and the rumors of, Mercedes Moné, Sasha, wherever you want to know her or call her by. Like, she has, like, full creative control. Mercedes Hogan, Mercedes this, Mercedes that.
That was a big deal over the weekend. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw the Twitter beef that was going down. I don't know if you saw.
Was it with that JDY guy and Sean Ross? What? I didn't. I was too lazy to go back and read it. What's the lore behind it?
So apparently they had and don't take any of this if you're listening to this. Don't take it for quote. You can go and read the tweets. But from what I understood, there was like a media call day for AEW, and I guess that Sean guy got the first question, and like his first question was about like asking Tony about creative control in regards to like Mercedes, and basically like Tony Khan said like no, like she doesn't have creative control, like it's me, I make the final decisions and blah blah blah. But then people were like going back and be like, well, there's that video that Sasha or Mercedes did on TMZ where she pretty much said that she had creative control and stuff like that. And then they started like arguing like what's creative control versus creative input. Because people were saying, I guess when you say what creative control, people always think of Hogan because Hogan had it into his contract. So I guess people are saying that she doesn't have creative control because it's not written into her contract. But the guy JD's like yelling and like it's a pretty good video if you go and look at it. Do I think she has creative control? I think she does. I honestly think she does. There's just I don't know, and and so he kind of like mentions like what creative input is. Like if I go to you and say like, hey, I'll give you this idea, and then if like Tony says, yeah, that might work, that's considered like an input. But when you have like decisions like who you want to wrestle, blah blah blah, like and stuff like that, like and not wanting to like I don't want to say necessarily like take the pin or put somebody over, but when you factor that into whoever's booking creative and they're like, yeah, let's just go with that. Like I think that's creative control, and I honestly think she does have it. I don't know what you think if she does.
I think when you hold that many belts, I think you have to, right?
That's what I'm saying too. I don't even know what half those belts are. Like, people want to. Obviously, people like argue that like the whole like. I mean, this is something completely different, but like the whole partnership between like WWE/NXT and TNA, saying like there's TNA's like getting no good out of it and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, what good are all those belts on Mercedes? Like. We don't know what the hell they are. She just drags them along with her, and like I don't know what the hell they are. Like they're not doing good for those. So teach them.
I couldn't tell you, but I couldn't tell one time what belt she holds right now. I know she has like what 6 of them now, or I don't know how many else she has.
I think 6.
I couldn't tell you what damn title she has. I know she's probably got her boyfriend to the main scene title. I think that's the tweet that I saw was that her boyfriend. I think now
was another interesting thing
Moto,
too. The Beast Mortos.
The Beast Mortos, yes.
Like somebody
never heard of that dude
pointed it
one
out
day in my life. Never heard of that dude one day in my life. She popped up on my TikTok. They're doing that little stupid Pink Panther, whatever the hell that song is, and next thing you know, he's on the fucking main event of Collision or Dynamite, what the hell it was, against Hangman. I was like, I've never heard of that dude in my life.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Yeah. I saw the beef on Twitter. I was just too like there was so many retweets and like so many like subtweets, and I was like, dude, I'm too lazy to go and read this something. I'll let
and then like
AI or like Gronk summarize it for me.
And then that Sean Ross guy got caught using his burner, like trying to glaze his own account, like so he got caught using his burner account. So I thought that was pretty fucking funny. But yeah, it was some good beef going on in the Twitter world about creative control and creative input and so forth like that. But it was pretty funny. But
yeah, I saw the beef. I don't know if you saw me laughing every time you mentioned Hulk Hogan creative control. I don't know why. Last night I went on a lore of like I don't know what I was doing. I was watching like Undertaker stuff. I don't know if you ever heard the story. It's off a tangent where Undertaker was delivering the tombstone pile driver to Hulk Hogan, and it was the first time that he was doing it to him. And like backstage, like Hulk Hogan kept telling him like, "Oh, like you got me, right? You got me." And Undertaker was like, "Yes, like I got you. Like don't worry about it. Like you're gonna be fine." It's you've probably seen it. I think it's when Paul Bearer like slices the chair, or there's a chair under it, and he does a Paul Bearer.
Oh,
Undertaker does it, and then Undertaker does it, and he says like the whole time, Undertaker, "Oh, you got me, brother. You got me, brother." And then they go backstage.
I think there's even like if you go, if you look at I think it's from 2002 at Judgment Day between the Taker and Hogan. Like he gives him like the most weakest like choke slam. Cause I guess he didn't help him.
Oh yes.
And then like he does this stupid pump up. Like he's just like, I'm like, God, anytime I see
I don't
him,
know why.
my fucking
I don't
my
know
fucking
why.
blood boils, dude.
I was on a lore yesterday, so I was like watching things on YouTube, and all you hear is, "Oh, you got me, brother! You got me, brother!" And then like Hulk Hogan goes backstage, he's like laying down on the floor there, and then like Shane
Yeah.
McMahon tells him like, "Oh, like don't worry about it, like he's fine." And then like Undertaker was like said like Hulk Hogan says like, "Oh, like call my wife and call my child." Like, dude, like chill the fuck out. And they go back and they watch the replay, and then they didn't like obviously his head doesn't hit the mat, but yeah, I was like seeing that one day. Whenever I get a soundboard on podcast, so that's gonna be a soundboard. Oh, you got me, brother! You got me, brother! That's gonna be
Got me, brother.
that's gonna be a sound bite on there. But
That's
yeah,
not
I
gonna
saw
work for
that
me,
there.
brother.
That's not gonna work for me, brother. So yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, Mercedes Hogan, Mercedes Monet, however you want to call her. I know obviously we're gonna talk about Becky Hogan, the little funny poster, not funny posters, but people also throwing that out there was wild to me. But we'll get there when we get there. But let's now head into which was basically the co-main event, which was Okada versus Kenny Omega 5, with the victor being Okada. So their official record now is 2-1. If you go back and watch the New Japan, their records are 2-1. I know you haven't seen the lore, the other chapters of the four. I know that's why I have my New Japan subscription, is I particularly subscribe to it so I can go back and watch those matches as I anticipate for this match. Now, this might be a hot take. I don't think it is, because I think I saw somebody else say this, but it was a good match, great match. I enjoyed it, but I would say this is probably the worst that they've had. I know you really can't say too much because you haven't seen the other ones, but I don't know if that's a hot take. I feel like I feel like I saw somebody else say that. And it's no disrespect to this match. Again, a fine, great match. But obviously, you do incorporate that they're older. They have injuries now. Kenny Omega is not the Kenny Omega he was years ago. So obviously that plays into it. Again, not disrespecting the match whatsoever. It was a great match. I think my one complaint, and I put a tweet about it, was I wasn't a fan of the interferences. The fact that Don Callis was getting involved and you had other people getting involved. That was my one big gripe. I feel like you could have done this without the interferences. But yeah, overall, great match. Whether the worst out of their 5, yes. Do I think this should be the end of their matches? Yes, I think you should keep it fine 2-2. One of those people were probably saying, oh, they need to run it back. I don't think you need to. Just keep it 2-2-1. Keep it like that. Okada goes off and does his Unify. I think the rumor is it's going under the Continental rules or something like that, because the Continental Classic is going to happen. So it's going to be under the Continental rules, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, great match. Again, I like my star rating. I'll give it like a 3.54. Again, the worst out of their 5, but still was a great match. I know this is your first time seeing Okada and Omega in the ring together, so I don't know what you thought about it. So I'm curious to get your opinion. Again, obviously a lot slower. I'll probably have to give you my New Japan subscription. You can go and watch those other 4. They're long ass matches. I'll bear you that. They're like hour and a half matches. So
Oh boy.
make sure make sure the little ones are asleep when you watch these.
Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy it. My only gripe, and I think this is, you probably warned me that this probably might be my gripe about the other ones, but I don't want to really comment on the other ones because I haven't seen them. But I don't know if this is like a AEW thing or if it's just like like the wrestlers that do it. But like my biggest gripe with this match, along with like, I know we really didn't talk about it, but the whole Young Bucks and Swerve Osprey tag team matches, like the amount of finishers that they do on each other and then like the close kickouts, like drives me insane. Like I could see 1 or 2, that makes sense. But like once you start getting into like the 3, the 4s, and then constantly just doing it over and over, like I kind of feel like you're taking away from your move. So it's kind of like, why do you want to like diminish your move? And like I know there was that whole going back to the tag team match, they had that whole sequence where I think like the Young Bucks were like super kicking Osprey and fucking Swerve, and then they did like a bunch of like chops around each other, and then they did like the Canadian Destroyer, and then they no sold it, and it's just like I don't know, man. Like that just the no selling irks me, regardless if it's AEW or WWE, because I know there was a no sell of that Penta did a couple of weeks ago about the Canadian Destroyer, and all the people are like, "Whoa, you don't like when AEW does it." And stuff like that. I was like, dude, regardless of whoever does it, like it just doesn't, that doesn't work for me, brother. So yeah, like that's the only thing that kind of grinds me a little bit about like some of these matches, is like the constant like finishers and the kickouts. I think it could be overdone. I think that's honestly like just going back to that tag team match. I think that's what drove that match like way too damn long. Like I think in like maybe like in the final 5 minutes, like I can't tell you how many finishers they did on each other, and like you could have just cut it down. And obviously, and but yeah, other than that, I didn't mind it. I probably will have to go back and watch the other ones just because I know they were a lot younger, so I'm pretty sure they move a lot quicker, faster, and so forth. So well, whenever I get around to that, maybe you'll that'll be a final thought for me some near in the future.
Yeah. After the pod, I'm sending you the New Japan log in, watch those matches because they are absolutely phenomenal. Probably, arguably, like top 10 matches of mine. I think I don't know which one I would rate. Probably Omega 2, probably. Okada and Omega 2 is probably like the best one. Yeah, I'll send you logins. Go watch them, and we'll come back to it. But yeah, great match. Was it the worst one? Yes, unfortunately, but still a great match. Yeah, I don't have too much on the tag team. It was a fine match. Yeah, a lot of kickouts on the finishers, things like that. Great match. They moved well. Everything moved fluidly. Was surprised that they that Swerve and Osprey won. I thought the Bucks were going to win, but yeah, it was nice to see a nice little victory for the baby faces there. Obviously we'll talk about the Texas Death match right now, but it looks like they rid off Osprey there for a little bit, and then obviously Swerve can obviously, we'll talk about that down the line there when it comes to Hangman and Page, as he now is the AEW champion. Spoiler alert. But let's head into this Texas death match. I know we were so the other debacle in the household because we had two TVs set up in our household. One was a little bit smaller, one was obviously the bigger screen TV. Jim Bro, the other bozo, hasn't been here since like the Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber. He decides to switch from Saturday night's main event to the big screen, and then the Texas Death match to the small screen. And he was already having issues with the upload. Where we turn on Saturday night's main event, we're already like 5 minutes into commercials, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, dude, like, why did you switch it? Like, just take it back. And finally, he switches back. Obviously, we switched it back in time for the match to start, obviously with entrances and all that. Obviously, Hangman had a special one there, so it took a little bit longer than expected, and obviously intros, things like that. So the first 5 minutes, and granted, we're trying to paint a picture for the audience. We're with our whole family. Like, it's me, it's Mrs. Moon 3PO, it's your two little ones, it's Mrs. Mom Who Collects. We'll call her Mom Who Collects here. We have our mom, our dad. And there you go, Mom Who Collects. She likes to collect books, right? There you go. Boom, book her on the pod. We'll get the Mrs. on here. We'll get Mrs. Moon 3PO, and we get Mom Who Collects on the pod, so they'll have a book segment. So they're there. Our aunt showed up. Our cousins were there. A lot of people were in the casa for this, and the first 5 minutes of the match on the big screen TV, we're seeing Hangman Adam Page stabbing the
with the fucking fork.
With the fork. I don't even know where the fork came from. I don't even remember where the fork came. Where you someone.
I think Moxley's the one who brought it out. I think Moxley brought it out the first.
Did he have it? I honestly don't remember.
I think Hangman was gonna get stabbed first, but I think he took it from him and then just decided to fucking drill his forehead. I'm just glad he didn't have noodles in his head this time.
Yeah, I was like, so the first, and I know Mrs. Mom Collects, so like, what are we watching? Like, what's he doing? And all you see is the blood just automatically gushing. And it wasn't like the typical blade. Like, it was actually like stabbing the fork into his forehead. And you could tell, like, the way the blood was dripping, like, it wasn't like a slash. With the slash, it kind of cuts here and then it kind of just drops down. This one was just like a straight 5 pokes to the head and just automatically gushing. And obviously Jon Moxley is one of the more easier wrestlers to bleed. But you put out a tweet here, and I'll open out the floor to you. And you put, I think I paraphrasing your first little words here, that you thought it was a great match, fine match, but Texas death matches ain't your cup of tea.
That ain't, man. Mind you, I haven't even seen, like, I think this might have been the first one I've seen in a while. I can't tell you when's the last one I saw. But I've seen clips of like Swerve and Hangman's Texas death match, and that one was just like they're drinking each other's blood and they're stapling their cheeks and all this other garbage. Like, it's just not for me. I know there's a place for it in wrestling. I know there's people who do like it, because obviously people were like tweeting and yelling from the streets that they were crying that this is the best match ever that they saw. I'm like, yeah, that was a good match, but like some of the stuff is just like, it's unnecessary. Like I don't need it. Like I don't need a nail steel board like has those nails and stuff like that. Um, I don't need the fork to the head. Um, what else did they do in that damn match that kind of just like another unnecessary?
Beer
I know they
bottle
had the barbed wire, but
glass.
that wasn't too bad. Like that's I can see that. Like that was fine, but like um yeah, I don't know. I guess it was just like I don't know. I think this one as I from like comparing it to like other ones that I've seen clips, I guess this one wasn't as bad. Um but so I know there's worse ones out there, and especially like on the indie scenes, I know they do them a lot more like that, but I'm just like, yeah, they're just not for me. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't mind a little like good old classic street fight or like a hardcore match, but I don't know. These death matches seem a little too extreme, and it's just. But I did enjoy the match though. I thought obviously they needed to get the belt off of Moxley. I mean, people have been like I said, I don't watch AEW religiously, but I know one of the biggest gripes was that they didn't see the world title like Moxley had it hidden in that damn briefcase. This whole I think since like when he took it from Bryan in November, I think is what it was. Um, so I think it was time for this, and I think people were tired of the. I don't know. From what I read on the internet, some people were tired of the whole Death Riders storyline and stuff like that. So I can't really comment on that because again, I really don't know much of it just from what I see on the internet. Um, but yeah, what I did like about it too. I like the little like the story plane that they played into. So apparently, like when Hangman opened up the belt, like it still had Brian's like side plates on it. So
Side
obviously
plates. Yeah.
so I did. I think I retweeted that. I was like, "This is storytelling right here, brother." Like so. But yeah, I think they made the right call, and I think this is going to be very crucial to AEW to like get started on the right foot, like where they're going to go from here. Like you got the belt off Moxley, the belt's back on TV. It's on Hangman. Like, where are we going to go from here? So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But I think they really do have to get it off on the right foot because you don't want to go backwards. You have to build. You got to keep going up. So, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Agree with you 100%. It wasn't the best match I've ever seen. No. And I would agree that this was probably one of like the like calmest Texas death matches. Like, yeah, as you mentioned, I remember, I think, was it the same match? Like, Hangman had, not Hangman, Swerve had a needle stuck to his cheek. Like, there's been some gruesome, there's been some gruesome. I know you're the fan of needles there, so, so yeah, there's been worse from what I've seen and me personally. But yeah, like this one was probably the more common. I believe the biggest spot, like the spot where kind of like closing your eyes a little bit, was the fork spot, and they knocked that out in the first 5 minutes. The bottle glass wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
The nails wasn't too bad. The barbed wire to the cheek, the table wasn't that bad. What else did they do? Well, yeah, it wasn't that bad. And then obviously we had the return of Bryan Danielson, which that dude's a fucking goat. We had during the week that the WWE contacted and told the, hey, the guys stop doing the yes chant. What the first thing he's doing when he's in there? Doing the freaking yes chant. So that dude's a freaking goat. He don't give a damn. Had the return of Darby Allin. Glad he was able to make it from Mount Everest, coming down Sting-esque from the roof there. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. They need to find a way to carry on this momentum. I don't want to say it's like 2018, 2019-esque where like that feeling's back, but it's close to it in my opinion. And I think they need to find a way to tap into it and just move and push forward. If that's throwing that into Swerve right away, I don't know who's the ideal first challenger is for Hangman, but having him be a lengthy reign, showcasing the belt, defending the title, weekly, monthly at your pay-per-view, showcasing it as your top baby face and as your guy, as your, I would say the heartbeat of AEW essentially. Like he needs to have that reign and he needs to do that. And I feel like he's the right man to do it. So hopefully they Tony and those guys, they carry on to it and book it forward. But yeah, I'm excited for AEW. I'll probably tune into it on Wednesday, see if I can and see where it goes and see what the direction is. And hopefully it's something in the right direction where that 2018, 2019 feeling can once again come back. Because if I'm being completely honest, it's been absent for me since that time. But yeah, that's All In. Didn't again, fine match, fine card. Was it the greatest wrestling I've ever seen? No. Was it the greatest pay-per-view I've ever seen? No. But it was fine. It did what it needed to do. And I genuinely did enjoy All In. And that says, I don't say it says a lot, but I mean, we've been known to have our comments here and there about AEW on this podcast. So the fact that we watched it, we sat down, we recognize good professional wrestling. But let's carry on to Saturday. Great American Bash, fine card. They were literally on the same time during the pre-show and during a little bit of the beginning of All In. Key matches for me, I think obviously the big ones there was Ethan Page and Ricky Saints. That was a phenomenal match. I haven't seen too many people talking about that match, but if you watch that match from start to finish, took some crazy ass bumps. The steel chair pump that Ricky Saints took, and then automatically to the rail. That was a crazy bump. What's that dude's name from backstage? What's that guy's name? Damn, I think he's from LFG. What's his name? Troy. What's his name, right? That is Troy. Something Troy.
Oh, the Jasper guy, Jasper Troy.
Jasper Troy, yeah. Having him involved, that was a nice little backstage thing. Was hoping Ricky Saints would have pulled out. I'm a big Ricky Saints guy, but I like Ethan Page as well, so that was nice. We obviously had the in-ring debut of Blake Monroe, and obviously we'll talk a little bit more about Blake Monroe on Sunday. But yeah, I feel like not a lot of people are talking about it, but I thought overall in the end, Great American Bash was a great card. Did what it needed to do, showcase the great NXT talent that we have. I don't know if there was a key match or key takeaway for you, but I would say for me, it was the Ricky Saints and the Ethan Page. Then obviously having the in-ring debut of Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace versus Fallon Henley and JC Jane, which that was also a pretty good match as well.
Yeah, so I had this one on the iPad while All In was on the bigger TV, and I missed the first two matches. So that was the Javon Evans and Jasper Troy match, and then the Soruka match. But yeah, I think the match for me was the Ethan Page and Ricky Saints Falls Count Anywhere Street Fighter, whatever the hell it was. I did like that one. The finish was a pretty good finish, like the way how they did it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. NXT pay-per-views or PLEs are always pretty good. So I thought it was pretty solid. Did what it had to do. It was funny watching like Ethan Page and Ricky Saints going 1-on-1, like legit, like All In is like playing. I think when they went on, I think was I don't know what match was on. I think it might have been the men's gauntlet.
Was it the men's gauntlet? It was a men's gauntlet. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, but.
Yeah, I found it funny that they had that, and then obviously Blake Monroe's in-ring debut was obviously All In's biggest pay-per-view, AEW's biggest pay-per-view, so thought that was kind of poetic. But yeah, was a fine card. I generally enjoyed it. Like you mentioned, their NXT PLEs always find a way to deliver, so definitely did enjoy the Great American Bash. But I feel like it was one of those things where like great matches, but not too many like big moments here and there, like we're going to talk about with Evolution and potentially moving forward with some other bigger PLEs as we approach the upcoming year. But let's head to Saturday night's main event. Oof. That's all I gotta say about that.
Probably the worst one so far out of all of the I think it's maybe the fourth one that they've done. I think this is probably like the worst one.
And I hate to say that, but like, and I was in a thread, or I was on a thread on Reddit or something, and people were kind of saying like, oh, like why are you comparing Saturday night's main event, which is basically like a throwaway house show, like we've talked about here on the podcast, or like a throwaway pay-per-view or PLE, compared to basically AEW's WrestleMania. The reason why we're doing that, and the reason why we're comparing that, is because WWE forced us to do that. Like TKO and WWE forced us to do that. Like you're forcing us to have this conversation because you decided to think we're going to put Saturday night's main event up against All In, which I think All In ended like around 7:30 CST, and we're already in the middle of. I'm gonna be completely honest. I didn't really watch Solo and Jimmy. Like I wasn't even paying attention to that TV. I was mainly focused on the Texas Deathmatch, so I really can't even say too much about it. Obviously, I know Solo came out victorious, Jacob Fatu came out in the end, which I made a funny comment like Jacob Fatu couldn't come out before Jimmy got the spike. So I was like, God, like man, these run-ins, man, like you guys are coming in a little bit late. You guys got to be a little bit quicker than that. But yeah, and again, that's why we have to have this conversation because WWE forced us to have this conversation. We could have easily had Sunday Night's Main Event last week and have talked about how brutal that card was last week and then talk about All In, but that's not what WWE and TKO, that's not what their mindset is. That's not what they want to do. So obviously that's where they force us to have these conversations. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Arguably the worst Saturday's Main Event that we've had so far. And obviously a lot of that plays into the card itself. We had Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, again, wasn't really paying attention to it too much. Was fine. Again, I didn't really pay attention too much. Obviously, I've been very disinterested in that feud because it's been involving Jelly Roll and who was it? Jelly Roll, Drew McIntyre. I've just been not involved in that whatsoever. So once I saw that was happening with Jelly Roll, I was like, dude, I am not interested in this in one bit. They could be doing something better. So I was ready to I don't care about that. And then you have obviously we just briefly talked about Solo and Jimmy. Again, didn't really watch that too much just because All In was going on. And then we had Seth Rollins and LA Knight, which I actually left a little bit for that match. I had to go take care of something. Then I come back and you tell me that Seth Rollins is hurt. I'm like, oh my God, like that added on to what already was a bad card. And it looks like that is going to be a very significant injury. We thought potentially it was a work to set up for a potential cash-in, but it is not. And we'll talk about Monday Night Raw because I didn't think about something about the Money in the Bank until Paul Heyman said something. I'm not too sure if you caught it as well, but yeah, it was very, very disappointing to see. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but again, it does sound like it is. So hopefully Seth Rollins comes back with a speedy recovery with his unfortunate consistent knee injuries, which I don't know how many knee injuries it is at this point. It's been quite a bit. So hopefully he can find a way to recover and come back stronger and better than ever. And then we go into the main event with Gunther and Goldberg. I know we're making the joke where I think it started like at 8:30, 8:45. And like we're thinking like Goldberg, you're going to pull like an extra 10, 15 minutes out, which I have a gripe about that because, all right, it's 8:30. Like how long were you really expecting Seth Rollins and LA Knight to go? And then Goldberg, Gunther goes on. You could tell they probably added onto that match, but you couldn't end that match earlier so he can have a proper retirement speech. Like I'm the biggest Goldberg hater out there. I've been known to hate Goldberg. You go back to my old Twitter, you go back to my personal. I absolutely hate Goldberg. I do not like him one bit for multiple reasons. But you couldn't give the dude 10 minutes to speak on a retirement. Like you literally ended on his retirement speech. And I get it. It's the network. I get it. But you really like you couldn't end that match 10 minutes earlier. Like that to me is just crazy. I don't know. Like it from the start was already a bad card. I didn't enjoy it one bit, if I'm being completely honest. It was just bad. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. There's not much more to write about.
I don't know if obviously WWE and TKO's attention was probably to get some of the attention off of All In and all that other stuff. Which oddly, I think once the All In ended, I think that's kind of around the time of the Seth Rollins match. And unfortunately, that's what it ended. Obviously, in an injury, and then you can kind of tell you knew it was legit because they kind of did that thing where they moved the cameras off and they're like showing off the crowd, and then as soon as like they come back to the ring, LA Knight hits his finisher on Seth and picks up the clean 1, 2, 3. And around that time, it was already like 8:20, 8:30. And I'm like, oh damn! I was like, this ain't good. I was like, they're gonna have to either drag on this, this match between Gunther and Goldberg, but I think they threw in that little segment with Jelly Roll and Randy Orton, kind of like confirming their match for SummerSlam. But yeah, so I don't know. I obviously we watched it on Peacock on the Peacock stream, and I don't know if the Peacock stream is any different than the NBC like television stream because it was all very wonky. Like so, like the match ended, and then as soon as the match ended, like it quickly goes off into like ads, and I was like, "What the heck are they doing?" And it's like going through a couple ads. I'm looking at my watch, and I think it's like 8:55, and I'm like, "All right, they still got 5 minutes. Like, what the hell are they doing?" And then it cuts off and it gives us that stupid Georgia peach, which if every time they're in Georgia, you get that Georgia damn ad. And then it goes back into the ring, and their Goldberg's already on the mic. And I was like, "What the hell?" And then like Michael Cole. Apparently, they said if you go like and look at it, like you can tell like Michael Cole's like kind of like being rushed in a sense. And at that point, it's already like a minute or two left, and Goldberg does like his little bit spiel, and then it just abruptly cuts off. And I was like, "Dude, what the hell?" Like that's the last image we have of Goldberg. And I'm the same way. Like it's not that I don't like hate Goldberg, but I also like don't like him just because the most. I do remember his run like in that like, early 2004. Like I was watching wrestling when he was like wrestling Brock and Triple H and all that stuff, and that, and then obviously he left, and but his most like recent runs were just like so bad that it just like it. I didn't like the booking decisions they did. Like he would just come, spear, jackhammer, win the title regardless of whatever it was, and then he would either be like served up to Brock or Roman and stuff like that. Um, and it's just I didn't like it. Like he obviously took the titles off like Bray Wyatt, Dolph Ziggler, stuff like that, and it's just like it just didn't. Kind of like the way Brock was booked. Like I also don't care for Brock. Like every time he comes, he's just there to like just take the title off somebody and then like disappear, and he'll come back at SummerSlam or Mania or fucking Saudi or like whatever. Like it's just the way it is. So I just wasn't a fan of that style. But I do think the dude deserved a better proper send up than being cut off in the middle of his speech and then getting like a minute or two on Peacock and NBC, and then it just gets cut off. Apparently, WWE has the full speech uploaded on YouTube, which I think it's around 10 minutes. I haven't seen it, so probably have to go and check it out just to see it. But yeah, I think he deserved a proper send off, and I thought maybe too they would show him on Raw or even like mention it or show a little bit of the speech, but they didn't. So I don't know. Goldberg's gone.
Yeah. Again, I think hater is a strong word. I think dislike. I don't know if hater and dislike are in the same dictionary, in the same word
Just bad
category.
booking. Bad booking.
Yeah, I think when I think of Goldberg, I just think of like him beating the Fiend and the bad match with the Undertaker, and like that is what
too.
rubs me the wrong way. And I'm like, dude, like, did you really like need to do that? Or like, I know obviously he has no creative control. He was just taking what the old man was saying. But yeah, when I think of Goldberg, I just think of bad booking decision where you could have put over talent or enhanced talent and didn't do that. So that's my general idea of when I think of Goldberg. And yeah, even as the bigger disliker of Goldberg and hater, if you want to call me that, if you want to throw that in the comments, you're more than welcome to. But even I can recognize as a person, like, dude, that he deserved a better send off. Was the match okay? It did what it was supposed to do, and it went the way I thought it would do. But yeah, I mean, you couldn't give him.
I mean, I'm surprised he went that long. I was under impression that it was probably gonna be like a 5-minute match, honestly. But yeah, the fact that he actually went a little bit longer than I thought. I mean, kudos to him. So
shout him out. And the entrance was cool. It was nice having the old security guard and obviously having his son Gage walking out with him. So nice little touch. And again, he gets to go off on his old terms. I know that was his big thing, was like he was promised a retirement match, didn't get it with the old man, and he got it under Triple H, which, it is what it is. So shout out, I guess, to Triple H for giving him the proper retirement match. And you can say what you want about.
Apparently, too, a little local shout out, but I don't know if you're like in the RCW Facebook group, but apparently him and Gunther were training at a wrestling school down here for, I think it's called a Hybrid School of Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh damn, I didn't see that.
But the I guess the owner posted. I'll send you the link in a little bit. But the owner posted the picture of both Goldberg and Gunther with behind their banner. So I guess, well, obviously, because I think Goldberg lives, I think, in Bernie.
Yeah.
So I guess they were training for the match down here. So I was like, damn, I thought that was pretty cool. So
that's pretty cool. We failed to recognize too that Jim Bro met him at a tournament. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that. Yeah,
Jim Bro met him at a tournament because he played baseball. He didn't play baseball with him, but he played against them. He played against Gage. And Goldberg was there. He took a picture. I remember he specifically sent it to us because we were like the bigger known not liking of Goldberg, and he sent it to us. Look who I just met. I was like, dude, no fucking way. So that was pretty funny. But
oh my God.
Good old Goldberg, man. Which you can actually go and buy his Top Snout card, by the way, if you're into that. And we'll talk about cards more. But you can buy a Goldberg Top Snout farewell. And you can get an image variation of him spearing Gunther if you're into that kind of thing. So go out and get your Goldberg Top Snout card if you want it. Very ironic too, as you look back at the end, at the back of the card. It talks about it puts a part of his speech there. It's just been one hell of a ride. He told the crowd after the match. That's all we got. So that's all we heard. And they cut him off after that. So shout out to Tops for recognizing that, I guess. So, but yeah, that was Saturday night. Now let's head into Sunday, which was Evolution 2. You can call it Evolution 2. I know they were just promoting it as Evolution. Basically, Evolution 2. One word, phenomenal. Like, they're from start to finish. Like, that was professional wrestling, not just women's wrestling. That was professional wrestling. Phenomenal card from start to finish. I rated on Dropkick immediately 5 stars. That's probably been and probably is the best not the women's PLE. That's the best PLE that we've had this year. Don't know if you agree with me. Don't know if it's instant just because it just happened less than 24 hours ago or a little bit after 24 hours ago. But that was it. And it's I don't want to say it's hard to get my attention when watching wrestling, because there's times where I'll look at my phone here and there, or like I'll go do something, I'll walk away and I'll come back. But like this one here, like I was glued to my seat from start to finish, from the triple threat match to the women's battle royal to the no holds barred match. All the matches involved, all the women involved, absolutely killed it. Phenomenal card. Don't know how you feel about it. I'm pretty sure you have the same feelings as me. But yeah, that was, you couldn't have done it any better. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah, there's like nothing bad to say about it. I mean, I know like a lot of the biggest gripes going into this was there was no build.
Yep.
Like it was put together last minute. I mean, the women just went and kind of just took all those excuses and shoved it up everybody's asses, because yeah, they killed it. I think they sold the weekend, honestly, and I'm so glad that this was on Sunday and not on Saturday going up against All In, because that would have been tough. That would have been tough for to have the girls go up against them. Not saying it would have been any less delivering or anything like that, but it kind of just to have them have their own night. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about. Like now, like, yeah, people are talking about All In, but a lot of the majority of the talk is talking about Evolution and stuff like that. Which also too, I don't know if you noticed on Monday Night Raw, like the whole first like hour and 20, hour and a half was like all women matches too. So
yeah, we had three
I thought that was
women
pretty
matches.
Yeah.
Or like we had 3 women matches, and they all killed it. The Nikki Bella and Chelsea Green match, that was like okay, it wasn't bad.
Yeah,
There was a little bit of a clunky finish at the end. You can kind of tell, a little bit clunky.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell that. But it was fine. It wasn't. I know there's Nikki Bella haters, and I want to talk about the crowd a little bit too. We'll talk about them. I know there's a fan base that hates Nikki Bella. I'm not in that group. I think she's fine. She promoted the hell out of this card. And supposedly it worked, because supposedly they moved like a X amount of tickets when she was promoting the hell out of it. So shout out to her and using her platform. But yeah, we had the women's 2 out of 3 falls with Bailey and Lyra. Then obviously we had Roxanne Perez and the Judgment Day and Raquel Rodriguez versus the Kabuki Warriors. But yeah, absolutely great matches from start to finish. I don't know if there's one match in particular that stood out to you. I know there's a few of them that stood out for me. One, the women's tag team match. I know that was a great match. All the talent involved. I feel like the star that come out of that is Soruka. I'm a big Soruka fan. For many reasons. I think her look, her appeal, she moves in the ring. The snow snatch, the snow snatcher, or I forgot the exact
Snatcher. Yeah,
snow snatcher. That's like probably one of the best finishing moves in professional wrestling right now. And I was telling the missus this. We were watching SmackDown and NXT. Like, I find it so crazy that she wrestles in the Vans skater high tops. Like, I'm walking in those for 5 minutes. Dude, those hurt my fucking feet. So the fact that she's wrestling in those, that's crazy. So that to me was the star of that match. I'm also a big fan of the Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss tag team. It looks like now they're finally enjoying it, and the crowd too, man. The crowd was even behind Charlotte. I don't know if it was the Players Tribute. I know I hinted it on I did hint it on a TikTok that I made. I think I did. Was it TikTok? Yeah, I think I did with the TikTok that I mentioned, where she wrote like a Players Tribute on the Players Tribute when the writers are asking to write their own article. I don't know if that was it for her, because I know she kind of talked about the stuff with Tiffany Stratton, which, we can talk about that potentially down the line as well. But I don't know if that's it, or like just the pairing with Alexa, but it looks like she's having a lot of fun. And I think the crowd's recognizing that. And like they were chanting like, "We want Charlotte," which I've never heard that chant ever in my life. So, yeah. I mean, it looks like she's having fun too. So I'm a fan of that tag team. I know in the
Yeah,
TikTok I referenced.
the way I explained that tag team, especially to, like to the wifey, I kind of told them they kind of give me that big little sister kind of role, like where they're messing with each other, kind of like that. And that's kind of like the way they were walking down the ring.
The ring.
Charlotte was hiding her under her thing, and then she threw Alexa through her Lily and stuff like that. Kind of gave me that big little sister kind of vibe. But yeah, I don't know. I'm liking the. I was kind of iffy at first with where they're going with this tag team, but I mean, it seems to be working, and I don't mind it to see how long they can go with this. So.
Yeah, it was even to the point I had them in. Again, we didn't do a prediction pod. Again, we were busy doing different things. But I even had them winning. Unfortunately, they didn't win. But I think also again a nice touch was Alexa. I mean, Alexa, Charlotte saving Alexa from the Zarya spear, and obviously Soruka took the spear. So even that was a nice little touch. Obviously, I get wanting to build up the Judgment Day and having to keep those titles. You're not going to have Roxanne drop it, or Roxanne and Raquel drop it right away. Even Raquel too, man. Even on Monday Night Raw, she looked great in the ring. It's back to back. We're like last 3-4 appearances that we've seen her in the ring that she's looking really, really good in the ring. So, glad to see she's getting her flowers that are involved. Also don't want to fail to ignore the triple threat match. I think that's what like started everything. Like that's when we knew like, all right, like these girls showed out and like said like, all right, guys, we're gonna start up this. We're gonna set the tone. You guys have to follow up, and everybody did. Great match between Becky, Bailey, and Lyra. I did have Becky Lynch winning that. Becky Lynch winning that one. Nice little pinfall too to roll up there. So I thought
That was a clean pinfall.
that was a clean
That was
pinfall.
clean.
That was a clean pinfall.
Because you have to be really in sync with somebody to be that, like, because if you roll too hard or if you go a little bit too faster, like you can obviously overdo the pinfall. But Becky just kind of like glided, and obviously Bailey, but obviously they've been wrestling for so long with each other all the way down to NXT. But like, yeah, that was such a, when I saw it, I was like, damn, that was a clean finish.
Yeah, clean finish, great match. I thought it was very funny too that she was like after they won, that fan behind her had the Becky Hogan sign, and that's just like, I'm the man, like there's no one like me, like I'm the man. I thought that was funny. And then obviously on Monday, don't know if you caught it, she came out in red and yellow colors. So thought that was hilarious. So like, yeah, she's playing into it like on that troll level. But yeah, phenomenal match there. The I know I don't want to say, again, hater's a strong word. I was under the crowd there in the category of the Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus match, where this match absolutely had no build to it. It had 2 weeks of build, essentially, week and a half, whatever you want to call it. They kind of just threw it together, but kind of did what it's supposed to do. It was like 10-15 minutes, and for Trish Stratus, man, that dude, she still has it, man. Like, she is still moving. If there's anybody we're gonna tip our cap to in this pod, has to be freaking Trish Stratus, because man, she is still moving, and she looked great in the ring.
I thought I was 10 years old again watching Trish Stratus wrestle. But I mean, like, even like when they did the whole card, like, even I think that was the match I was kind of more scared of, just because obviously it's Trish Stratus and she hasn't been in the ring for that long in a while. And I kind of did like, I mean, she came out like guns blazing in the beginning with the high heavy offense, and like I think from a whole card standpoint, like nothing was too long, nothing was too short, like everything did its purpose. And I think that's hopefully that they take this back and just do this with the other PLEs, that they can do this. Like, you can have a 6-7 match card and it doesn't have to be long. Like, you don't need 4 or 5 match cards. I think those are too short. There's room to put other talent in there. Like, and I hope that they see that they obviously did it with the women, that they can just do it with a regular PLE. Because yeah, that was I think, like I said, that was the one match I was kind of more scared about. Even obviously, like I said, like there was no build up and stuff like that. But like even Tiffany brought out like new moves that I had never seen. I think she even did like Roderick Strong's move.
Yeah,
I was like, damn, I never seen Tiffany hit that move before.
Kind of heelish.
Trish hit it. Trish hit the moonsault, which I don't ever remember seeing Trish hit the moonsault. But then people were saying that she did it like in like as a nod to Lita. Obviously, Lita was nowhere to be found in this pay-per-view, not even in the crowd. Yeah, but yeah, I did see. I think we do need a heel Tiffy at this point. I also noticed too. I don't know if you caught it. Like at the end of the match, like she was kind of like gloating around for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, like you just see the ref like, hey, like get over, like get out of here. And I was like, huh? I was like, what is she doing? Like, Kind of made it seem
Yeah,
like
she
she was
did.
kind
She
of
was
like
like mocking the
gloating
fans.
a
She did
little
something
bit.
with her hands and her ears, and then
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
acting a little bit like heelish. And I said that on my TikTok. Like the baby face for Tiffany, this is not doing it for me. And I think it honestly kind of goes back there to, again, the players tribute that Charlotte wrote, because obviously going back to the article where Charlotte wrote in the article, like that wasn't talked about. Like they didn't talk about that, and like Tiffany kind of just went off and did her own thing, and it was personal, which like that I don't want to say that's fine, but to me that's like, if you're gonna tap into that kind of energy, you're gonna tap into that kind of character. Like that's like heel stuff to me. Like that screams heel, and like I don't know if you listen to Busted Open with Bubba Ray and what the hell, David LaGreca. Like they were talking about it, and like even just the way she talks too, like it's not baby face talking, like her tone, like just the style of her voice, like, and granted that's her voice. I'm not gonna say anything about her voice, but just her tone, the way she talks, and like it's like mockery kind of tone, and that to me is just heelish. So I honestly do think the heel turn needs to happen. Maybe it taps into a Jade Cargill. Maybe that's where they go with that, because I don't think you could put Jade Cargill as a heel. Maybe you can. They did it for a little bit in AEW, but yeah, to me, if you're gonna have a heel, which that just like it took like a 360. Now I don't know who the hell's gonna come out victorious out of that. And obviously we'll talk about why. But yeah, it was a fine match. Again, a little bit heelless, and hopefully that's tapping into the heel turn that we need to get from Tiffany. Yeah, you did nail it. I think the ref was kind of like, hey, you need to get the hell out of here. Like Trish is gonna have her little moment here, if that was her last match in the ring or not. Like let her have her moment there, where she even took like a nasty knee to the face on the prettiest moonsault. So I was like, oh god, like right at the face there. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
shout out to that match
that
too.
looked like a that looked like a rough. I thought she landed on her fucking face, and I was like,
Yeah.
I am.
Even the missus there, we're obviously was watching it with me. She saw, I was like, oh damn, yeah, it looked kind of bad on the slow mo. And then heading on to the next matches here, we had the no holds barred match, which that match was fine. Again, I put out a tweet there as well, like that was the best that Jade Cargill has looked. Obviously, another loss for Naomi. I know some people were up in the uproar about that. Like, you're obviously not going to have Jade Cargill, who's going against Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam. Like, you're not going to have her lose. So was nice to see her come out victorious, and having Bianca Belair as special guest referee. That was a nice little touch. I know they threw that on at Saturday night's main event. Where that goes, who knows? I don't know where that's going to go, especially now, but curious to see where it goes. I don't know if you have any final touches there. There wasn't too much to write home about the no holds barred match. It was a fine match, but yeah.
No, I thought
went the way I thought it was gonna go.
I thought maybe like a little plot twist that there would have been like a little Bianca Belair interference in between them, which there was little to none. She would, every time she was like checking in on one of them, kind of make it seem like she was trying to like get them to like, hey, like let's stop fighting, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff, kind of the same way she was before. But yeah, I'm glad this is finally over. It was a good feud. Obviously, I enjoyed it from like when it first took off since the Chamber and stuff like that. I talked about how much I like that beat down and stuff like that. But I think it served its purpose. We obviously got the heel Naomi out of this, which obviously she is doing like some of the best work I think she's done in her career. But yeah, you can't have Jay take the L and then go into SummerSlam with her title shot. And I mean, Naomi has the Money in the Bank, or did have the Money in the Bank, obviously. She can afford a couple losses, and I think the way she lost to was, it's I don't know if that was technically Jade's finishing move in a sense, kind of look more like a bulldog, but I don't know if that was supposed to be like her move. So to take the finisher through the table in AEW, that probably would have been a kick out like at one. Here in the WWE, gets the job done. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. Like I said, Jade had some rough matches, and I think this was probably her better one. It's going to be interesting to see how she meshes with Tiffany. I know Tiffany sometimes can be a little rough. Obviously, if you look at her match with Charlotte at WrestleMania, that was a little rough. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do this. And obviously, they have like about 3 weeks to build to this. So let's see how it goes.
Yep, and you mentioned heel work of Naomi, and now we get the heel turn of Blake Monroe in the Jordan Grace and JC Jane match. Again, I had thought that Jordan Grace would have been victorious. She's lost like 3 chances at this belt now, which you
I don't
would
think
thought
she's ever going to
after,
win that belt.
yeah, you would think like after loss, like, all right, this is the time to go up to SmackDown or Raw. Okay, she lost another one, time to go up to SmackDown. Oh, she lost this one, time to go up somewhere. But she stayed down there in NXT, and now looks like gonna be stuck in a feud there with Blake Monroe. It was funny because I remember I saw the clip of them backstage. I'm like, oh, this isn't like sitting right with me. Like, I don't trust this whole thing. And then I remember I texted you. What I texted you? I texted you right away. Like, what are the odds? Let me see. Verbatim.
Of a Blake Monroe. Yeah.
I put what are the odds for a heel turn for Blake? Question mark with little eyeballs. And you put, dude, that's what I was thinking, LOL, especially if Jordan wins. I put her little smile backstage and it said, "Will with me, LOL." Which, if you guys go back to the to her AEW day, that was her whole thing. Like, her whole thing in AEW was like, she was trying to gain the trust of Tony Storm. She finally gained the trust, won the Owen Hart Cup, and then does the brutal. That was probably one of the top AEW moments that I remember watching live. I was like, oh shit. But yeah, I'm surprised they did it quick. I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that they did, because she is gonna work better as a heel. I think the babyface stuff only lasts for a couple of months or whatever. Obviously she has the appeal to be a babyface, but yeah, the heel turn for her is going to be phenomenal. I think Jordan Grace is a perfect first opponent for her. I think Jordan Grace I think they just have her just taking so many pinfalls where like she could take a pinfall to Blake Monroe and it won't hurt her, and maybe that gets her finally gets her up to the main roster. But yeah, I mean, everybody kind of. I think they also throw it on there they talk about on the PLE too, where like they're talking about Jacy Jayne being like one of the worst like NXT Women's Champion, which is kind of like disrespectful. But man, she moves too good in the ring. Like, she's not bad. She doesn't get talked about a lot like everybody else, but she's good in the ring. And I think, again, dating back to the Great American Bash, was a fine tag match and a fine match with Jordan as well.
Yeah, I think Wade Barrett said that. I think it's Vic Joseph on commentary in NXT called her the most beatable NXT champion. I'm like, damn, dude, it was harsh. Yeah, I mean, I think I don't watch a lot. I don't want to say like I'm the like Jacy Jayne like the greatest wrestler, 'cause I really don't know much of her matches. I just recall like her obviously being in Toxic Attraction with Mandy and Gigi. Obviously we know what happened to Mandy, and then of course she continued to team with Gigi, and then they broke up and stuff like that, and then she comes out with this new faction, the Fatal Influence, with Fallon Henley and who's the other girl? Jasmine Nix. Yeah, I mean the match was good, and obviously like the Blake Monroe turn is I think what we're all kind of waiting for. Again, we're all shocked that it came this quick. I think I even tweeted it. I was like, dude, I think Jordan Grace is gonna probably murder Blake Monroe. And I think after that, like there was like a video of Jordan like running backstage, like, "Where's Blake? Where's Blake?" So
yeah, and they
hopefully
cut to the camera too of her at the ring. She's like, you're gonna. I think I'm mouthing it. She's like, you're gonna regret that, bitch, or she said something like that. And the camera cuts like, okay, yeah. So that.
Yeah, hopefully this is the last like really good feud that Jordan Grace has down in NXT, and hopefully after that they can bring her up to like to Raw or SmackDown. I know there's rumors that she was gonna go to SmackDown, but haven't seen it yet. But hopefully this is the last feud that she maybe does down there, and hopefully just goes on to the main roster, and stuff like that. So, but we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. That was one of the bigger things that come out of that PLE as well. Want to make sure, obviously, show some love to Blake Monroe. I think this heel turn is gonna do some wonders, and it'll be some fun must watch NXT television there. But then let's head to the Battle Royal. Obviously the victor there being Stephanie Verker. Again, that's who I predicted as well. Glad that she won. She's obviously the winner of this Battle Royal. Is going to go have a
only right decision. Only there was no other option.
Yeah, there was nobody else.
Nikki Bella getting her title shot in Paris.
Yeah. There was absolutely no one else you could have had for this. Was surprised though, like the last two was one of the last final participants was Last Legend. Don't know if it was like an Atlanta thing. I don't know if that's what they're playing into, or like if that's a thing where like WWE's like, hey, like we recognize you last, like you're gonna be one of our top girls moving forward. But yeah, shout out to Last Legend. She had a pretty strong performance. Obviously, once again being one of the last participants there. Again, don't know if it was just an Atlanta thing because she's from Atlanta, but yeah, like that she got some attention there with a part of the last two. Curious to see how that trickles into her card. I was looking at her card market. Her expensive card that has sold courtesy of Card Ladder. I'm curious to see if we're going to see any big sales or like big move. I always love doing this when like PLEs and say like, all right, what's moving? So when I was looking here at Card Ladder, her highest price card sold was her Super Fractor NXT 1 of 1, which sold for $1,325 on February 23rd, which is a lot of money. But when you compare that to the other bigger superstars, it's kind of, I don't want to say chump change, but a little bit lower. So always curious to see where that goes when it comes to that. But I would think here the one of the thing I would say my biggest complaints was even though we did talk about Last Legend having a strong showing, they kind of did NXT a little bit dirty. Like we had Nia Jax eliminate Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame right away. Kalani
right
had
off
a
the
nice
back,
little Kalani had a nice little showing. She had the little Kofi Kingston move. Jada Parker had a nice little showing, but man, like it would have been a little bit better to have some Tatum Paxley.
Yeah,
and,
they had.
and some.
I think they had like Meechin and Beef after all Jada Parker. I'm like, how you gonna do that? What's wrong with it? Yeah, like, and then I think Tatum Paxley was like out like within less than 10 seconds. I think Izzy followed her like right after that. I think Lola was in there a good amount.
Yeah, Lola was
I can't remember who threw out
Gooners
Lola.
Gooners are going wild.
Oh, I know the Gooners hated Chelsea Green for a minute because freaking Stephanie was about to hit the devil's kiss on Nikki Bella. I was like, oh, here come the Gooners, and they did Julia a little bit dirty. I know there people were saying like, oh, people were trying to say like, well, she came out last and blah blah blah, but to have her getting thrown out like by Zelina Vega, which Zelina looked a little bit. I didn't see full her entrance, but she looked a little bit different coming out. She had like black and white. She didn't look too happy. She looked a little angry. So I don't know. Maybe we're getting like a little darkish turn maybe from her. But yeah, her getting eliminated by Zelina was, and at the moment, because I think even when Julia got out, there were still a lot of people left. Like she got thrown out before B-Fab, Mitchin, Alba Fire, Piper Niven, stuff like that. So I don't know if maybe we're heading down another rematch at SummerSlam between Julia and Zelina. I don't know if there's another way maybe we can get make it a triple threat or fatal four or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I was kind of surprised to see her go out that early. So I think you even had the tweet too that the disrespect to Julia. So
yeah, I did. I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
they really got eliminated by Selena. I was like, oh god,
yeah. I think
I
promise you, I know we're not throwing. I don't think we're the only ones. But yeah, I was the same way. Like I was surprised to see Lash Legend at the end, which is pretty good. Like, obviously, she showed it for the NXT brand, and stuff like that. But it was a solid battle royale. It did what it did its purpose. Stephanie has her title shot, which obviously we just found out on Raw is going to be against the women's world titles. So it'll either be Naomi, Io, or Rhea. So I mean, either one of those three, I think it's going to be a banger of a match, and I think this will be happening at Clash of Paris, which, funny enough, is going to be like 3 weeks after SummerSlam. So, there's the build to that already. So, yeah, I mean, it was a solid battle royal. Can't really say much. I did like the pyro they gave to Stephanie. Obviously, Stephanie did her promo in Spanish, and then talked about how her English is not her first language, but wrestling is, and stuff like that. So, yeah,
the freaking
it's going to be interesting. What's that?
I don't know if you saw the retweet.
The Stephanie McMahon.
No, it's the Kurt Angle one. It says English is not my first language, but wrestling is my first. It's just...
Kurt Angle. Ah.
And
I know people were making the meme. I know people were making the meme about like the Stephanie McMahon talking in Spanish. Yeah. That whole. So I know that was going around too. But yeah, man, it was solid. It was solid. I liked it. It was a good battle royal.
Yeah, I would say
also
the
what I'm
I'm
glad that they did. Just probably my last thing on the battle royal. I'm glad that they gave the girls like each their own entrance. Like I'm glad that they did that. I watched it on Peacock, so I didn't get to see all of them. It cut off like after Chelsea, and then it like randomly broke right in when Kalani was coming out, and then Kalani was coming out, and then it like randomly cut off again to like another ad, and then it came back for. I think it was Kansas, and then we saw the rest of him. But I know you watched it on Netflix through a VPN, so and I was like, hey, are they showing all the entrances? And you said yeah, so I was like, I was really glad that they did that. At least they gave the girls, they deserved solo entrances, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I had thought everybody was getting those. I was like, oh, I guess everybody's getting those. But yeah, it was cool to see. Yeah, they all did get their all entries. I thought it was just gonna be like a Nikki Bella thing, or like she gets her special entrance and like the big names like for Kerr, Julia, that everybody else just kind of just comes running in like they typically do, or like with men's battle royals, even some women's battle royals they've done in the past. But yeah, it was nice to see. It was a good women's battle royal. I think the only thing I had was like I can't confirm if they promoted it or not, so don't quote me on it. But I believe they said there was like, or we speculate there was 5 spots to be vacated. I don't know. Maybe those were taken up by some people. I don't know. I would have to go back and look at it. But obviously, we all talked about the special guests. I made my TikTok. I was talking about Soraya Page, however her. Obviously, us every AJ Lee fan. Every time there's a one little glimpse of speculation, we always love to go towards AJ Lee. But yeah, I thought it was fine without even the special guest entrances. And it did its purpose. So I was perfectly fine with it. But let's now head into the main event. Another instant classic with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Again, stealing the show once again. Those have never failed to have had a bad match. There's not, when you talk about bad matches, you're not thinking about Io Sky or Rhea Ripley. When you think about 5-star matches, instant classics, great matches, you're thinking about this one. Somehow one keeps topping the other. I don't know how they keep doing it, but that's when you know they're so damn good at it, where they just finding a way to topping their matches. Absolutely phenomenal match. And obviously, like we've talked about here, we obviously had the unexpected cash in of Naomi, which, am I an idiot? And I'm not trying to take away from her moment, but have triple threat matches have always been no DQs? When the fuck did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think they've been like that for a while.
Maybe I'm just a fucking idiot. I know she hit her with the briefcase, and then like the bell that are running the hair with the briefcase. I was like, wait a minute. And then like Michael Cole kept like referencing like multiple times, like, oh, it's a no DQ, it's a no DQ. I'm like, when the am I an idiot? Or like, when the fuck did that happen? I know they mentioned it too
Yeah,
in the men's gauntlet too. Like, supposedly that's the thing now. I was like, I don't fucking know.
well, that one was different. The one from the Gauntlets and I didn't know about. I don't know why that was all of a sudden a no DQ, unless they just made it today a no DQ. But yeah, from what I was mistaken, like I think triple threats or when there's more than one person, I think there's always been no disqualification. So yeah, I mean that was probably hands down like it was a crazy match. I loved it. It was a banger from the start to beginning. From start to end, start to beginning, you idiot. Yeah, I mean they every time they wrestle they get more and more time. Like they keep on one upping it, and so obviously now we're gonna head into SummerSlam where it's gonna be a triple threat. With obviously Naomi now being the champion with the cash in. Yeah. The Rhea Ripley haters were quiet this morning. I will say that on Twitter. They were nowhere to be found. They were all crickets. So, I mean, Rhea's not going anywhere. I mean, even beyond like women's wrestling, I think she's probably like a top 5 like most popular wrestler like in the world. Like that's where she's at. And I know some people are now even starting to like give Io her flowers, saying that she's like one of the best wrestlers too, which she is. And so I'm glad to finally see her get her flowers due. So yeah, this match was, I mean, it hit. So, and then an unexpected cash in, I would say. I was fully set on that Naomi was gonna. My whole theory was that Jade was gonna beat Tiffany and Naomi was gonna cash in on Jade to take the title off of her. But we got swerved. So
I'll say, for someone who hates Money in the Bank matches and hates the concept of Money in the Bank, Triple H has probably booked one of the best all time, not including the men's. He probably just booked like a top 5 cash in, because usually with cash ins we have a little bit of an idea, like you mentioned, where we kind of know who they're going to cash in on or what they're going to do and things like that. And yes, I think we're all in the same boat where we thought, Jade will win with Tiffany, which is kind of what we hinted, but we don't know what the hell is going to happen with that now. And, obviously would cash in on Jade and kind of keep that story going on, maybe till, some Survivor Series, whatever the case may be, maybe even to the end of the year or beginning of next year. But now that's not it anymore. Like, that's not happening anymore. So yeah, for somebody who hates Money in the Banks and cash-ins, that was probably one of the better executed. I remember hearing the music coming out, like, oh shit, like she's doing it. And I thought maybe it was going to be one of the like other faulty ones where like they kind of come in The ref takes freaking forever. Like, you sure you want to do it? You're doing it now. You sure you're gonna do it? You're gonna do it now. And then, but luckily, the ref was smart enough and they did it right away. So it was, yeah, absolutely phenomenal match. It hit on all levels, and like you mentioned, the Rhea Ripley haters, which I don't understand why they're out there. I really do not understand it one bit. They were quiet, and yeah, absolutely phenomenal match. 5-star classic in my opinion. No misses on that one. All hits, no misses. Absolutely phenomenal. This whole card in general was all hits, no misses. Absolutely phenomenal. Nothing bad that I'm gonna say. Hopefully this is something that they continue moving forward as an annual PLE. I know that's what I tweeted out to. Like, they have to find a way to make this a yearly pay-per-view. There's no excuse as to why this shouldn't be not. And this shouldn't take 7 more years to get another women's evolution pay-per-view. Like, there's no excuse for it anymore.
Yeah, I agree. The whole card was the whole show was an A++ to me, for me, 5 stars. Again, with all the stuff with the lack of build, and it was put together so quickly. Obviously going up against the AEW and all that other junk. Ticket prices were crazy, so I know like they ended up like, I think, like barricading like some of the upper seats into the lower, and I think they upgrade. I guess if you had a ticket up there, they were upgrading you to like lower bowl, so it looked full. So I think like from the ticket sales, I think it was like around 8K people. So I'm pretty sure it's sold out. But I did also see like an interesting tweet. They were saying that like this, obviously they ended up lowering like ticket prices. So I think from when I last saw like tickets, like the cheapest was like around like $50, which is reasonable for like a show, instead of paying like $200 to sit all the way up at the top. Like, I think that helped too. So you got to get like actual true wrestling fans. Not that if you pay a lot of money, you're not a true wrestling fan, but like to make it more affordable for, like, in my case, a family of 3, because the little one's free still because he's under 1. But like in my case, a family 3. Like if this was in our hometown, like to have an NXT and then Saturday's main event and then a women's pay per view, like that's a lot. Like, and then on top of that, you're paying like upwards of $100 per ticket, not including fees and stuff like that. So hopefully they also, TKO and WWE, like hopefully they see like, hey, maybe we should have to look at these ticket prices, because yeah, it's I think the pricing is an issue. But that's a story probably for another day. But other than that, I love the evolution. Said 5 stars, A++. And I agree with you. Hopefully they make this a yearly event.
Yeah, you nailed it there. Again, can't add on to anything to that. Again, 5-star classic. I rated on Dropkick instantly 5 stars. There's, again, absolutely no misses on that. And if there is a miss, then I don't know what the heck you were watching. Again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Not saying you're wrong, but don't know what you were watching there if you got a miss on that one. But let's now head into Monday Night Raw. Nothing too crazy. Again, I know we kind of hinted on the women matches already, so we're not going to talk about those too much. We had Lyra Valkyria taking it out from Bayley, taking the 2 out of 3 pinfall, which I thought Bayley would have won, but let's say maybe the kind of like the match. Another banger match. But let's take the little showcase that they had at the end, like kind of showing like a little angry Bayley. Maybe we're getting the heel Bayley back. I'm always a fan of the heel Bayley minus on the face Bayley. Not saying they're bad, but I always prefer the heel versus the face Bayley. So maybe we get that back. Again, we kind of talked about it already, the Nikki Bella and Chelsea Green match. That, again, a little bit clunky towards the end. Was fine. Did what it's supposed to do. But yeah, maybe building up, because obviously Stephanie McCurry has to do something at SummerSlam, so maybe they're building to a secret Hervis versus Nikki Bella and Stephanie McCurry. I thought maybe we would have had Brie Bella by now, or maybe, I don't know, maybe do a 6-woman tag with all of them and having Brie Bella eventually involved. So time will tell on that, though. But obviously the big thing here coming out of Monday Night Raw tonight was tonight. I say tonight is Monday. You're probably hearing this on Wednesday primarily, but big thing coming out of Monday Night Raw is that CM Punk is set to face Gunther for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam. And I remember, we're talking about Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins and all that. And like Paul Heyman said something where I didn't think, 'cause I remember they announced the gauntlet match. And I was like, oh, like I'm surprised it's not for the Money in the Bank briefcase. But that dude has until a year to cash in. So there's no reason for him to vacate it. I was already thinking like, oh man, like they just wasted this Money in the Bank. But the dude's not going to be out. I don't think he's going to be out a year. I would say maybe half a year, 5-6 months. I think that's the rumblings that we're hearing right now. Obviously, nothing has been officially announced.
I see numbers all over the place. So I was like, I can't even comment on how long he's gonna be out because there's like nobody
Yeah.
knows. And I see 3 months, I see 5 months, and I'm just like, it's we won't know yet. But yeah, I did caught that too, where he says that he has a whole year, so he's not even thinking about it. So hopefully it's not serious. But I don't know. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah, so right when he said it, I was like, oh shit, like he's not wrong. Like nobody's not gonna pull like a stupid idea or like a stupid rule out of their ass, and, like so he can keep the briefcase. Because that was really where my brain went. I was like, oh, he has to vacate the briefcase now. They have to do something or have like another Money in the Bank match like they've done before in the past. With the women's when freaking James Ellsworth pulled down the Money in the Bank briefcase and threw it down to Carmella, and they got into a freaking frenzy on there, and they did it again, which then Carmella then won. But yeah, I thought that was interesting that he said that. Again, CM Punk coming out of courage out of that gauntlet match, breaking Braun Breaker look like a star. Obviously, we kind of already knew some potential OTC Roman Reigns return was going to happen because Paul Heyman was basically naming every nickname that he had to Braun Breaker. And obviously, during the beatdown, we get Bronson Reed coming out, and he's beating up both sets, CM Punk and Jey Uso. And then we get the return of Roman Reigns, the OT. How do you feel about the OTC 1? How do you feel about that?
I don't know where they're going with that, honestly.
I don't know either.
I know it's kind of. I don't know if it's kind of like the whole like football term where there's like there's a QB1, QB2, stuff like that. So I don't know like who the hell is OTC2. Like is that The Rock? I don't know. Like is that Solo? Jay? I have no idea. So I really don't get it. So maybe hopefully they ought to explain it. If not, I'm pretty sure it was just another merch crap, I guess. But we'll see.
Yeah, when we heard the trademarks are coming through for OTC, when I was like, well, what the hell's the 1 stand for? Like, are they trying to go for like the finger point? Like, is that what they're trying to go for? Like, I don't get the OTC.
Maybe
1.
it could be that, but like in like football terms, it's kind of like a depth chart kind of thing. So like if you're QB1, you're obviously the starter, and if you're QB2, you're the backup, and so forth and stuff like that. So
Cody Rhodes ain't like
I don't
that.
know.
That dude's QB.
Oh yeah, see, maybe it's to do with that. I have no idea.
Cody Rhodes is QB. I feel like he wants to be the quarterback. So yeah, was nice seeing Roman Reigns again. The aura that man has is ridiculous.
Insane pop as always.
Insane pop, insane for a Birmingham, Alabama show, singing Roman Reigns, like absolutely insane. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you can be in a freaking shit town down south. Like you're gonna get a pop from Marines wherever you're at. So it was great to see him back on television. Television is an old term. Back to see him on live streaming on Netflix. Curious to see where it goes for SummerSlam. I don't know where it's gonna go. Are they gonna do a Braun Breaker, Roman Reigns? Is that what they're setting up for? Are they going to do a Roman Reigns and Jey Uso? Because he did pick up Jey Uso, didn't pick up CM Punk. But I thought it was funny. CM Punk was like, "You're not going to get my hand," and he just looked at it. Now you're going to pick your ass up yourself. And so, are you going to do a Roman Reigns, Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker? Like, are you going to go that route? So curious to see where it goes from here. I don't know where. Obviously, we have 3 weeks to build to this. Hopefully, he shows up for the next 3 weeks. Maybe we get him on SmackDown. Oh, you never know. Maybe hey, July 18th, Roman. If you're not busy. Hey, if you're listening, hey, Texas is a fine state. Hey, we'll appreciate you if you did. But yeah, anytime there Roman Reigns is on your television screen, that's when you know it's big and it's eventful. And I think now that was like the sign, like all right, like SummerSlam's here, we're building up to it. And I think we'll probably get. I would think CM Punk Gunther I think deserves night 1 main event. I would think, and then obviously Cody Cena get night 2 primarily. I would think
night 2.
So once CM Punk wins the World Heavyweight title, man, I gotta obviously you guys know I have the World Heavyweight title. I gotta go get the CM Punk side plates. That's gonna go absolutely bonkers when I get that. That's gonna go stupid crazy. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Like I know one of the I don't know if you remember like like Seth always vowed to like say like as long as he's there, like he's gonna make sure that Punk's never champion. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see like how legitimate the injury is, like how long he's gonna be out. Like how is there a way to cost Punk again at SummerSlam, or is it gonna be like Bronson and and Braun Breaker to get involved. I don't know. So, but yeah, I think they've already got quite a bit of matches already announced for SummerSlam, so they're starting quick.
Yeah, you got the unfortunately tag team of Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. You then have the triple threat. You then have CM Punk Gunther. You're going to get some sort of Roman Reigns match. What else? What else has been announced so far? You're going to get AJ Styles and Dirty Dom, which I love their backstage segments. Their backstage segments have been absolutely hilarious, especially last week. Like, oh yeah, it says here you're a punk ass, and then this week here AJ Styles praying to God. So that was a fun little segment. Those segments have been absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some sort of men's tag team match. I know they've been building into that. Smackdown tag team, we talked about that at the beginning of the pod. So yeah, the engine is turned on. We're heading straight forward into SummerSlam, so I'm excited to see where it goes. So make sure again you are keeping tuned there for the podcast when SummerSlam gets closer. When we get a full card announcement, we will be doing a full breakdown and prediction of that card. So make sure you are following us on the socials, following the pages at Moon3PO. Follow us, Collecting the 123 on YouTube and or Spotify or Apple. And of course, you can follow Bro Peel here at Dad Who Collects on all socials. Everything will be linked down in the description down below. But before we wrap this up here, I know we're pushing 2 hours, probably our longest podcast episode. So if you're still with us here towards the end, we definitely do appreciate you guys. Make sure you are liking, subscribing. If you are here, if you're listening on YouTube, and of course, if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, make sure you are following. But of course, before we wrap things up here, again, we are recording this on July 14th. If you guys have been following my socials, you guys would know that we were talking about Topps Chrome Cactus Jack. We were supposed to get the official pre-order today. Again, we know there's that date that's been floated out there, but I, again, didn't want to disclose that date here. I confirmed what Topps gives to us, and we got the date here that July 14th, we're going to be the pre-orders, and we got the Monday morning tweet releasing this week from Topps. We got Basketball Sapphire, we got Topps Finest Baseball, but unfortunately, Topps Chrome Cactus Jack was not on the list. We didn't even get any type of an acknowledgement like, hey, like we're pushing it back or this, and that. And again, adds on to the frustration and the disappointment that we've had so far with Topps as we as they've regained a license at the beginning of the year. I made a TikTok about it this morning. We went gun blazing at the beginning of the year with Topps Chrome. That was a success to an extent. Topps Chrome Sapphire was a little bit of a blunder. We talked about that. We got real excited when we knew that EQL was coming for Topps Chrome Cactus Jack, kind of hopefully giving us all an equal shot to get hopefully getting a box, maybe two if you roll that way, a case if you roll that way, but nothing still. And I think it just adds on to the disappointment that we've seen so far with Topps and this license here. Obviously, WWE has no control over that, and that's the fact that Topps and Fanatics can't capitalize on such a big weekend that we have with wrestling that we just talked about for almost 2 hours, and the fact that they can't capitalize that on it again adds on to the frustration that we have. And it's not even the case of where like this is like our job or like our make or break. Obviously there's some breakers out there who like need product to rip so they can make money and do this and that, bring things to their audience and to whoever follows our page. Like we're just normal collectors. Like we're just normal collectors who like to rip. Yes, I sell on whatnot, but like that's not my job. Like I'm not doing it for my full-time job. It's my side hustle. Like I do it to fund other things and to fund the hobby. I just want things to rip. Like I want to bring content to you guys. Like I want to bring opening boxes, finding singles, what singles are selling for high prices, what singles are not, what singles you should buy. So the fact that I can't bring that content out to you guys as well is very frustrating. The fact that I have to keep making videos and content and podcast, like we're going to get something. We got sneak peeks, but I don't know a date yet. I don't know what's going to drop. I don't know the price point. Like to me, it's very frustrating. It's just very, very repetitive. Don't know how you feel about it, but yeah, that's just the way I feel. It's very disappointing. And I think even the fact too that we're not even getting like no confirmation. Yes, we have the sets released, but again, we're in July and like, are you going to release Universe, Royalty, Finest, Exalted? Like you're going to release all those 4 sets in 6 months. You can't even get another set out in half a year. Yes, you had the WrestleMania Cactus Jack, but that was only for people who went to WrestleMania and or if you're selected for the Cactus Jack, which that was probably all bought it up or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, that's my rant. I don't know how you feel about it, but yeah, it just adds on to the frustration, disappointment that we've been ran into with this Topps and Fanatics license so far.
Yeah, it was It was disappointing, to be honest with you. I was all ready to go today to get into this EQL. Hopefully that I get better luck than I did with Topps Chrome. Was curious to see the price point. I know that's a lot of that's a big question right now. We don't know like how much it's going to be. We know I was a little surprised to see that it's actually going to be like an actual true hobby box standard. So I think it was, correct me, I think it was 20 packs if I'm not mistaken in a box.
20 packs, I believe,
Or right, and then like 5 cards per pack or 4
cards
cards.
per
Don't
pack.
quote me on that. But that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's not going to be like the way it was at WrestleMania, where you get 2 packs and stuff like that. So it was going to be like in a true hobby format. So it was really, there was a lot of interesting hype behind it, and to then not get an explanation of why it didn't happen, or to say like it's going to be pushed to another day for X amount of reasons, stuff like that. It was kind of just like, oh, we're just gonna not announce anything, and so that's the lack of transparency kind of sucks. Again, we're more than halfway through the year. We're going into SummerSlam, and we've only had Topps Chrome, which is impossible to find. And if you do find it, you're paying double price. You got to pay an arm and a leg to get to this stuff. Same thing for like if Breakers even still have the Cactus Jack WrestleMania, you're probably paying an arm and a leg for that too. And the chances of hits, or the way some people do their breaks, it's probably zero to impossible to even get anything pool wise. So yeah, it is a little bit of a disappointment. Hopefully we can get something here soon. I honestly don't think it's gonna be out for that rumored date, which I will not announce because I don't think it's gonna happen. So hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and hopefully we're wrong on that date. Like, hopefully we are wrong, and hopefully we do get product by then. But like, I put on my TikTok too. Like, you would think, like, I would assume SummerSlam is gonna have like a SummerSlam World, or like an event store where they're gonna have like people coming in and out, like in a big event store, like they typically do for their bigger PLEs. Obviously, they love to go on Fanatics Live and like ripping open product and things like that. Like, what's a better way to launch the product and launch the new line here as we approach SummerSlam, where there's going to be a lot of hype around wrestling, kind of like we saw with the Royal Rumble. That's exactly what they did with the Royal Rumble. So I don't see why they can't do it with SummerSlam. And like, I think a thing too of that is like it's not a new base design. Like, it's the same design. Yes, there's new inserts. Like, there's like the rest. I think they, I don't have the link in front of me right now, but like the Astro Knights, there's like a Rebel Festival, I think, inserts from what they promoted on their website. Like, there's not new base designs. Like, you're keeping the same render photo for CM Punk, and like I think Kevin Owens has the same render photo too. And granted, there's probably more that goes back into it. Like, I'm pretty sure there is, but like, it's the same base design. Like, there's nothing dramatic that's changing.
And
Like,
it's only 100 card set, so it's not this big old huge set. Like, I don't know.
And like,
I really don't
granted,
know.
yes, there's new superstar. I talked about the Ricky Saints coming into the set, which that's going to be a big chase. Things like that. But like, there's still like to me, there's no reason why this set should have happened. Granted, I'm pretty sure there's more things that happened in the back end team, and I'm pretty sure there is. So don't quote me on that. Obviously, I don't work for Topps. I don't work for Panini. I don't work for any other card company, Upper Deck. So I don't know how these product releases goes on the back end. But like, again, it's the same design, it's the same rendering, it's the same things, and like same setup configuration. So I don't know exactly why. And then if you knew you were gonna have a hiccup, like, why talk about this July 14th date? Like that, and that to me is probably the more frustrating thing. To like, we finally got something. There's no more rumors. There's no more Topps conference. We're getting this at a available soon. Like, we got a date, and now to know that it's been pushed back, that's the more frustrating thing about this all. And that's what I highlighted in my little video that I made. So if you want to go check out that video that I didn't express here, please feel free to go check out that video and follow me on TikTok. But yeah, obviously we'll cover Topps Chrome Cactus Jack more as we get more confirmation. I was hoping by this time we would have been talking about all the card releases, the sets, who's in the set, who's not in the set, what autograph to expect, what we think about the base designs. But to me, there's no point in talking about it when that's all we got, because when we get a release date, there's nothing to talk about. So hopefully soon we have some better news. Hopefully we come back here on a pod sometime and we're like, oh, we got a box, we got an EQO, we got selected for the EQO, and hopefully I'm able to bring out some opening content video, which I haven't done in forever when it comes to wrestling cards. It's because there's not, like you mentioned, there's not out there. And if you're trying to buy Panini product or Topps Chrome product. It's an arm and a leg. So it's tough out here for trying to rip some WWE product. If you're a collector, breaker, flipper, or whatever you want to call yourself, it's tough out here. So bear with us as we're waiting for these Topps confirmations and sets to be announced here. But yeah. 2 hours here for the pod. I appreciate you guys listening and tuning in. I really do appreciate our longest one, probably in the books. I would think I had to go back and check the record, but I think this probably one is a long one, but probably one of our best ones yet. I definitely enjoyed. It's always a good time sitting with your brother here and sitting shop and talking wrestling, talking cards. It's always a good time. There's no complaint here on my end. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode. But before we officially wrap things up here and give our final thoughts, Bro Pio, any final thoughts here for the good old listeners of collecting the 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, I don't really got much. Other than that, we also have another big wrestling week coming up. SmackDown is rolling into our home city. So just keep eyes on the socials. I'm pretty sure we're gonna probably try to put some pretty cool stuff together. But other than that, yeah, I really don't got much. Hopefully, the next time we do come, we have some more clarification on this Cactus Jack nonsense, and hopefully we can say we got some box. But other than that, I ain't got nothing.
Yes, you took the final thought there. Friday will be at SmackDown. We got some very fancy seats courtesy of a acquaintance. I don't know if they listen to the pod. I don't think they do, but I would say acquaintance. I don't think you're listening 2 hours into the pod, so if you do, I'm sorry. But thanks to a good family friend, I guess it's the better term, I should say, potentially. I don't know.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah.
a good family friend. We got some very nice seats that I didn't think I would ever sit at. So yeah, hopefully we could take a full advantage of that and make some cool content. I'm still thinking of things I can do. Got some things in the books here, so we'll think of something and we'll put out a good little vlog there. So keep an eye out there for social. Again, Moon3PO all over TikTok, Instagram, X, whatever you want to call it, all over there. Follow Dad Who Collects over on X or Twitter, and over on TikTok, and go check out his content there. Again, all the links down will be down in the description down below. I am going to end off on a quote, something a little bit different today. There's something here said by Big E, which I think is a perfect way to end this pod. If you guys would listen to the post ending of the Evolution, the post scrum, I guess, as they like to call it these days, he had a good quote, and I think it's a perfect way to, why we have this pod and why we're able to sit here for 2+ hours or pushing 2 hours talking wrestling, talking cards. This industry is one that will often break your heart. It will disappoint you. It will sometimes have you questioning why you still watch wrestling. Nights like tonight remind you they make you feel something. That's all I got to say about that. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like, subscribe where you're at, and we will see y'all in the next one.